Okay, so 2 weeks ago I made a video. It should pop up right now, actually. It was basically a reaction video to the 2023 US Open draw. And I was really happy because I am a Novak fan, and I was really happy to see Alexander Zverev on the other side of the draw. I was really, really, really happy to see Daniil Medvedev on the other side of the draw, and therefore we got Holger Rune as a potential semifinal opponent. Also avoiding Jannik Sinner was great. Also avoiding Matteo Berrettini, Andy Murray, Lehechka. Some guys, ranked around number 40 in the first round. That was also really great. And I thought I made a prediction actually. And I gotta give myself a little bit of credit here. Pat on the back, good job, Sebastian. Really smart, tennis IQ. I thought that Novak Shaw was really easy. Either because of the good favorable matchups, or simply because the guys who were supposed to be there in the quarters, supposed to be in the semifinals, just simply totally out of form. They seem to be ranked too high, and they are totally out of form. I thought that Rune most likely won't make it. He got a really difficult draw. I thought that Rude might make it, but he's also a guy who loses a lot in the first and the second round. Guess what happened? I thought that Tsitsipas is in danger of losing because he's totally out of form. I thought that Felix will not make the fourth round, and he didn't. I thought that maybe Musetti will make it the fourth round, actually, but he also did not make it. So the draw completely fell apart, and you can argue, yes, he faced Taylor Swift. Well, I mean, everybody calls him Taylor Swift, actually. Taylor Fritz, the second toughest potential opponent in the quarterfinals. Guy with a big serve, big forehand. But you kind of don't realize it's not even the head to head. It's not even the head to head that they are 8-0. It's Novak feasts on these type of players. Like Fritz to me is kind of like Rublev, a bit taller. I seem to tend to think that Rublev is like this short guy, but he's actually 188, 6'2". But Fritz is taller. Fritz is 6'5". He's like a Rublev, big serve, big forehand, kind of like Berrettini. Although Berrettini, when he's really playing well, is a better player because his serve is just simply the best. Um, Especially on grass. And his forehand is devastating. But it's just that type of player, big serve, big forehand, A game, but when things go wrong, they just simply don't have a plan. They don't really have a good slice. They don't have a good, I don't know, movement, some tactical abilities, stuff like that. And Novak just feasts on those guys. Like he just destroys them in Grand Slams. He mostly beats them on Masters tournaments, ATP 500, whatever. But on Grand Slams, like these type of players are just not going to beat Novak. Like, eight-dimensional players are simply, not going to beat Novak. And, I see serious limitation when it comes to almost said Taylor Swift again. Taylor Fritz, when it comes to Rublev, who's playing his 8 or 9 quarter final, and he might lose again to Daniil Medvedev. Nothing against those guys. Actually, it's funny because it's totally off topic. I actually watched the juniors game between Fritz and Rublev like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and as I was watching yesterday's match, Fritz and Novak, I thought to myself, well, Fritz is like really Rublev. He's just like a bit taller version, bit better serve, but overall his game is probably not as good as Rublev's. So it's just those type of guys are just like horrible, horrible. They have horrible faith versus Novak when it comes to Grand Slams. And of course, Ben Shelton in the semifinal, and again, just a big guy, strong serve, big forehands. The fastest serve on the tournaments, whatever. But I just I watched Shelton and Tommy Paul, and towards the end of the third set, Shelton played a couple of horrible games, and you cannot have that against Novak. You have to like go if you're going to go out there and bang. I mean, you cannot play like shit for 10 minutes, for 5 minutes. You have to be banging. You have to get it in all the time. You have to be on that, Stan Wawrinka 2015 French Open backhand, where it's just like, backhand down the line, cracking cross court, just hitting winners left and right. Um, but that's most likely not going to happen. So Novak will always have an advantage over these guys. So actually, this is kind of a long ass intro. What I wanted to say that I am so sad. Like I wasn't really sad when the loss happened. When this loss happened to Carlos Alcaraz in the final, I was kind of annoyed because of the set point in the second set, because of the break point in the fifth set. But now when I see the potential, like look at these draws, like look at the circumstances, like everything was there for Novak to win the calendar Grand Slam, and it really came down to a set point in the second set of the Wimbledon final or a break point in the fifth set of the Wimbledon final. Because, he's most likely not going to get favorable draws like this. I mean, he played four Grand Slams, and I would argue that all four of them were really, really good draws. Compared to the 2021, we are going to do a comparison between 2021 and 2023. When he was, I think his form is actually better this year, but also the draws were so much better. The circumstances was better because 2021. Remember, like Medvedev was playing really nice towards the end of the season. Early season, Tsitsipas was really good. Nadal was still there. Zverev, the Olympic champion, was still it's like these guys. Berrettini, really dangerous player. Although Novak is going to beat Berrettini, but you have to be focused. You have to be playing good against Berrettini, even if you're Novak. Um, especially on grass. So it's like all of these things. He had to beat Nadal at the French Open, unlike this year when Nadal wasn't there. Although, they played twice in 2021 2022, and both of them were close matches. It's not like Nadal was dominating. Like it's overall 1-1, 4-4 in sets, two tight matches. It can go either way. But, I think overall the 2023, I was actually thinking about all four of the draws when it comes to Grand Slams in 2023. Like, who was the toughest opponent when it comes to ranking, uh, quality of the opponent, form of the opponent, surface, and the round of the tournament. And I think that Hubert Hurkacz at Wimbledon, fourth round Wimbledon, was the toughest opponent overall because you do not want to face Hubert Hurkacz in the fourth round of Wimbledon if you're seated really high because this guy might go out and serve 40 aces. And that might be it. That might be it. You might play a good match, but you might lose 7-6, 7-6, 7-6 because this guy's serving out of his mind. So, as a top seeded player, you do not want to, see Hubert Hurkacz in the fourth round of Wimbledon. And it was a tough match. It was 7-6, 7-6, 5, 7-6, 4. Novak only broke him in the fourth set for the first time in the match. It was two really tight tie breaks. Hubert Hurkacz had his chances. Although I think if Novak would have lost a tiebreak here, he would work harder because you can actually see in the fourth set him working really hard to get a break versus Hurkacz. But as I said, that is a really, really dangerous opponent. But besides that, like yes, he played Alcaraz in the semifinal, and you would prefer to play Alcaraz in the final of the French Open. But besides that, like let's start from the beginning, okay? Um, nothing, nothing. Yes, Dimitrov in the third round, especially when you're injured, is kind of dangerous. That might be the second toughest opponent when it comes to combination of round, player, form, all of that. Dimitrov in the third round of Australian Open might be difficult, and of course with the injury. And then Deminar, yeah, whatever. Rublev in the quarterfinal, yeah, easy. Limited player, kind of Novak always beats him when it matters. Tommy Paul in the semifinal, what can you say? And then Tsitsipas in the final, yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. So it's like overall, these are really favorable circumstances. You do not play somebody like Murray in the first round, which is going to go out there and die on the court. You're not playing somebody like Medvedev in the semifinal or final. Alcaraz wasn't there. Really favorable draw, really favorable circumstances. You can see the results. I mean, bunch of really smooth matches 6-2, 6-1, 6-2, 6-1, 6-2, 6-4, 7-5, 6-1. It's like you can see the form, you can see the circumstances, and he made the most of it. French Open, yeah, okay. Alejandro third round, I mean decent player, good on clay. It was tight in the first two sets, but Novak always going to beat him. What can you say? Hachanov, what can you say? Alcaraz in the semis, that's difficult, but it's the semis. And then Casper Ruud, it's just there is nobody like, an unseeded really good player. You don't play Vavrinka in the second round. You don't play, any of these guys who can be really, really dangerous. Let's go to Wimbledon. Thompson actually played well, but it is, Vavrinka, okay, on grass, yeah, okay. As I mentioned, Hurkacz, really a tough opponent in the fourth round when it comes to Wimbledon. Rublev again in the quarters, Sinner in the semis, Grand Slam. You're most likely going to beat them if you're Novak, and then Alcaraz in the finals. That was difficult, but of course you're going to have to face the best in the finals. So again, a pretty decent draw besides the fourth round, which was difficult. And then U.S. Open again. Just Nothing. I mean, first six rounds, just where is the potential mine? Where's the potential danger? I know that he lost two sets to Jared, but when he turned it on, it was pretty much over. So, uh, again, really favorable circumstances. No Zverev in the quarters, no Medvedev in the semis, no other guys who can be really dangerous. I don't know, like Pablo Carreño Busta in the second round, or I don't know, Roberto Batista Agut in the third round. Guys who Novak is going to beat, but it's going to be an annoying four setter. Um, so if you look at the circumstances, this is really great. Now, if you go to 2021, as I mentioned, there were uh tougher draws. Like again, let's just start off this. Like he faces Fritz in the third round, he gets injured. Then Raonic, he usually beats Raonic, but again, okay, difficult. Zverev in the quarterfinals, that's going to be a difficult matchup. It was a difficult matchup. Then of course Karatsev was an unseeded player, he's going to beat him, and then Medvedev in the finals. Medvedev in the finals, great player. So again, if you look at the 2021 Australian Open draw, this is much more difficult than the 2023 edition. Um, if we go back down to the French Open, it was a decent draw. It was a decent draw. Not going to complain. Although having Nadal in the semifinals is probably not ideal. You would prefer to play him in the finals. But kind of here comes the second part of the my sorrow, I guess, my sadness when it comes to the 2023 Novak Djokovic season and the wasted opportunity to get the Calder Grand Slam. Novak actually, I counted before the Medvedev match at the 2021 US Open Finals. He lost 19 sets, 19 sets in 27 matches. That's a lot. He lost 19 sets in 27 matches. Yes, he had more difficult draws on average. But losing two sets to Musetti, uh, just losing, cannot close out Berrettini. Of course, he's going to lose sets to Nadal. Being down 2-0 to Tsitsipas. Um, losing sets, losing sets, losing sets, losing sets, Tiafoe, Fritz, Raonic, whatever, he was losing a lot of sets. He was down a lot. He was losing a lot of tie breaks. Look at it, 6-7, 6-7, 6-7, 6-7. I mean, he lost a shit ton of tie breaks compared to 2023 when he was like 15-0 after losing that tiebreak to Coulthard. I don't know how to say his name. This is like, what's going on here? Like, what are these tie breaks? So you had more difficult draws and you had a bunch of lost sets. Like, I know I'm just like kind of bouncing back and forth, but the first set in the Wimbledon final was Berrettini. He was up 5-2 and he had multiple set points to close it out at 6-2. And then he lost his serve game and then he lost the tie break. So it's like, he had these hiccups. He had these like I'm down 1-0. I'm down 2-0. I have to come back. I have to come back. I have to come back. And at the end of the day, it caught up with him. At the end of the day, he couldn't come back versus Medvedev. So I think his quality of play in 2023 is much higher. His clutchness in tie breaks is miles better. Like he's not losing tie breaks. His overall game. Like I watched him with Fritz, and he wasn't making a lot of mistakes. He was playing really solid. He was defending well. He was attacking well. Everything about that match seemed good. Besides the serving, he really struggles to close out sets and matches for some reason. When he's serving at 5-4 end of the third set, it's going to be really difficult. Even against Jarrett in the third round, it was really kind of like a weird game. Like that match was over and then he kind of got himself into trouble. He does have to work on that. Like the one complaint that I have when it comes to Novak in 2023, like he really, really struggles to close out matches. Even in Masters tournaments, he was serving for the win against Alcaraz, he was serving the win against Zverev, and he lost both of his service games. Now he ended up winning, but he makes his life a bit more difficult when it comes to serving. But otherwise, he was playing well. So, just these tie breaks. Like, if you lost, so like I know I'm kind of like jumping back and forth here, but if you lost 19 sets in 27 matches, and let me count how many sets did he lose this year. So he lost one. He didn't lose anything else. He lost to Khachanov and Alcaraz, so that's 2-3. Um, he lost one to Hurkacz and Rublev, that's 4-5, and he lost two to Jared. So that's seven. He lost seven sets. depending what happens to Shelton in the finals if he gets there. So it's roughly going to lose 10 sets at most, minus the loss to Carlos Alcaraz. In 2021, he lost 19 sets in 27 matches. Was the three sets he lost to Daniil Medvedev. So there's a significant gap when it comes to overall, points won, sets won, tie breaks won, and all that. And that's why I kind of get like really, almost sad and disappointed to think about that wasted opportunity. And also, yes, he had more difficult draws, but when you look at the 2021 Wimbledon, it wasn't that difficult. He was playing Kudla, Garin. Garin is, not good on grass. Fucsovic in the quarterfinals. That's excellent. Shapovalov who's going to lose every single set, 7-5, 7-5. I swear to God, there was a match. Yes, look at this. Shapovalov, 7-5, 7-5. Like, this guy just loses every single set, 7-5, 7-5. It's unbelievable. No, of course, Bertin in the final, that's difficult. But, you know, the Wimbledon was kind of good, but then of course, the U.S. Open was really difficult to draw. The U.S. Open was really difficult. So, let me know in the comment section what do you think. I think that 2023 is uh, yeah, just a sad wasted opportunity because of this match. But it is what it is. That's tennis. I think in 2024 he's going to get more difficult draws. Like, sometimes he's going to get Medvedev in the semis. Zverev in the quarters and stuff like that. It will happen. Of course, yes, in theory, he can win the Golden Slam, the in-season Golden Slam, but his priority is going to be Paris 2024. And by Paris, I do not mean the French Open. By Paris, I mean the Olympics. So, I think it's going to maybe sacrifice the US Open. I think maybe he's even going to sacrifice the Wimbledon just for the sake of winning the Olympic gold medal. So I think it's really going to be difficult for him to win all four majors next season. So, okay, that was the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon.